Hi, my name is Brandi Cunningham, and I'm a lot like you. I'm a wife, a mom, a pastor, and a counselor, and I'm in search of wisdom above all else, learning how to lead my family well and love others out loud. It's my deep desire to help you live life to the fullest. And I do that by learning, testing, and bringing back what actually works, what I like to call the wisdom of the ages. So, welcome to In Search of Wisdom, where we go after wisdom that produces real life. I invite you to come and sit at the table with me. You do not have to figure this out alone.
Hello.
Hey, okay. So I'm very excited to start posting my new show, In Search of Wisdom, on this channel. This has been a show that has been developing over the past several years of my life. I've done the Wisdom of the Ages blogs, and we've published several books since I started that. And it's been quite the journey getting our ministry grounded. And now we're international with Fireside Grace. So if you're new, welcome to Fireside Grace. This is my husband, Robin, and today we are going to be doing our first episode together of In Search of Wisdom.
Yeah. Awesome.
What does wisdom even mean to you?
That's a great question. Well, when I think of wisdom, I think of God, and it's a tough question because mostly when I think of wisdom, I think of like knowing things, but I feel like being wise is not just knowing things, but it's having experience and having answers based on the experience that you've had that are beneficial. When I think of wise, I think fearing God and giving good, godly, wise counsel. So it helps you to live a better life and live a more godly life. So that's what I think of as wisdom. It's like when I think a person is wise, I think of like someone who's loving and caring and has advice that's relevant. And, like when I was a kid, I would my parents would always say something like learn from your mistakes or something like that, or listen to your elders because they know what they're talking about, they know more than you. And as a teenager, I was always like, nobody knows more than me, and then come to find out that I was wrong.
Shocking.
What's wisdom mean to you?
I know. When I was younger, most of you know, and maybe you're new to this channel, I got saved when I was 4 years old at a Jesse Duplantis conference, and I never looked back. And it was real for me. That was one and done. And I remember just soaking up all the information I could. I've always been an information seeker, and I've always sought understanding. And so around the age of 7 or 8, I remember thinking in my head, and I heard um, someone in youth say one time, a leader, why should you have to learn things the hard way when you can just learn from other people who have made the mistakes already? And I really took that to heart as a kid. And so I ended up volunteering 60 to 80 hours a week. Believe it or not, I have people that will, vouch for me that I still am sweet friends with, nurses and things that I had worked with, but at a nursing home because lots of reasons, but one was I was in search of wisdom. And this is really when that started in me. So again, this has been coming for decades now. So I'm very excited to go through that. Our wisdom is and wisdom are things that we can pass on to other people that have been learned the hard way. That's just simply that's
Yeah.
my street version of what wisdom is.
Yeah, it's kind of like, we have experiential knowledge of God, of Jesus, etc. That's what I feel like wisdom is. It's this experiential knowledge of life and your relationship with God and stuff. I guess that
Yes.
really encapsulates it pretty well.
And it does. And I love that you said, it starts with the fear of God. And we understand that from the Bible. And if you fear the Lord in a holy way, you will understand and begin to know that all his statutes are right and all of his words are correct. And you want nothing more than to run into the laws that he has given us because you understand once you love him and receive his love that transforms you, you can't help but understand that what he says about us to do and what he says that is for us to do is for the good. And so to me, wisdom is running in the direction of righteousness, and foolishness is running from the laws that God has put in place.
What kind of wisdom do you want to pass on to the next generation?
Well, there's a lot. And so that's why this is going to be an entire show for years to come. I have no idea how long, but I plan to keep this up forever, as long as I possibly can, which we've been doing our other show for 9 years now.
Yeah, we started
8
out on
years.
Facebook, and then we graduated to YouTube in 2025. So we've been, or 2020, we've been on
2020,
YouTube
yeah.
since 2020, so 6 years.
Yeah. So
But not the same channel, because our channel got deleted because they were going to delete us for not censoring what we were saying during the whole pandemic.
there's wisdom during crisis, there's spiritual wisdom in mentoring and pastoring, there's emotional wisdom, there's wisdom in relationships, there's wisdom in learning how to make decisions and having discernment. There's relational wisdom and wisdom learned through hard lessons, and there's inner life wisdom, there's physical wisdom, there's health wisdom, there's fill in the blank. There's wisdom about all kinds of things. And those are just some of the topics that I want to pass on to the next generation. Mostly my job and my calling from the Lord is to help you live life into your fullest potential. And that's what this is here to help you do, so that you prosper early and you're more satisfied with life, content, and happy in life. I'm a big advocate helping people understand the importance of the value of life and helping people through depression. So I love to help people see how worthy they are and how loved they are, and help people understand how to get their needs met, so that when Satan comes to tempt you, or Satan tries to get you to fall into anxiety and depression and suicidal thoughts and things like that, that you have the right tools to be able to fight them.
Yeah, that's a good thing. And I know that's 100% true, because I've said this before and I mean it. I haven't met anyone who loves people more than Brandi loves people, that cares more about people, and she will literally go out of her way to help people and do what's right, even when it's inconvenient to her, just because it's the right thing to do. And then on
Thank you.
the other side of that also is, she also will see someone doing something and they're not doing what she knows is right, and say, why is it so hard to just do what's right? Not so, she won't like say that, but I'm just saying, um, it's a difficult thing to know what's right and see people doing what's wrong. But
Yeah.
that's for any Christian,
Yeah, that's for anyone that, Christian or not, that knows the right way to do something. It's like, it's really hard to watch people do it in a way that's going to cause them harm when you know that. But as is parenting, sometimes you have to let them.
You can't force people. It's like they say you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'd be like,
exactly.
yes, you can push that horse in the water.
No.
Let 'em get a good
Yeah, and they
chug.
get kicked in the face and
So,
die.
what do you want your life to be known for?
Well, it's my goal to be the most loving person that people have met.
While you're doing it, mission accomplished.
Sometimes. Thank you. And I also want to be known for loyalty. I want my life to be known for bringing back healing to people who have been hurt by church leaders, and be known for restoring faith and being a part of a body of Christ again when you've been hurt. And yes, we are human, but I think I'm way more committed to working through difficult things with people than some are. And also, our ministry is just about people. It's not about anything else. And so relationships have always been number one to us. And even though we're international now, that has never changed.
Yeah.
And thirdly, I would like to be known for helping people. Well, I'd like to be known for being there for people when no one else was, and being a voice that shot through the darkness to help people have hope again. And I would also like to be known for giving people the space to grow, helping them through the fire with the grace they need while they're on their journey. thus Fireside Grace.
That's great. Okay, I have a question for you. This is something
Okay.
that I've thought about this like multiple times.
Oh, you're going off script. I can feel it.
If you had the opportunity to sit down with, let's say, like 15-year-old you or whatever,
Hmm.
what advice would you give to younger you? I know my advice would be know Jesus, get to know Jesus way quicker, because if you don't, you're going to have regrets in your life, and live for him. And I'd also say wait for Brandi.
Yeah, do that. No, I think you needed to be a little older when we met.
Probably had to be a little more rebellious too in the long run to help you, because you're so innocent. I have to.
Can you explain that to people?
She hasn't done anything bad with her life. She was a virgin until we were married. She didn't do drugs, didn't get drunk, didn't smoke cigarettes or do any of that stuff.
Which isn't a testament to I was literally putting into practice what I was learning about wisdom.
Right. And so sometimes that makes her a little more naive or trusting of people and some things. And I just have to be like, nope, no, we're not doing that with this person, or,
Yeah,
stuff like that. Not
that's
anything
true.
like, she has discernment and stuff like that, but some, I don't know. I don't know how, what I'm trying to say, but I had to teach her things of like when people say inappropriate things and that might be missed, and she just doesn't understand it. And I'm like, no, 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 they were not, they were being inappropriate here. But she truly believes the best about everybody. So that's it. But coming from my background and my history, I have a tendency to be more pessimistic towards people, so she balances me out.
Yeah. Well, that's true. That's very true. There's been several times where people, also I don't allow myself to get ran over. I do demand respect. But at the same time, I had to grow into that. There's been several times where you have noticed people disrespecting me and I didn't even realize that's what was happening.
Mm-hmm. I can think of a few instances, yeah. As a husband.
Yeah. Yeah, as a protector.
Yeah, right.
For sure. So, if I could sit down with my 15-year-old self, well, first of all, 15 was a really hard year. I had lost very close family members. By the time I was 16, I had already lost 4 or 5 really close family members, ranging from first cousins to great grandparents and grandparents. Um, and shortly after that, my childhood dog, who was my best friend. So most of you know I train dogs as well, but it all started with him. So that year was really hard for me, when I was becoming a young lady, um, and all the emotionally and hormonally and physically that entailed, and men were noticing, and I say men like older men who were interested in bad things as well. So that was just a really hard year for me. And looking back at my 15-year-old self, if I could go back and say anything, I would say, don't waste your time looking for approval in relationships. I think hands down that would be the biggest thing for me.
Don't be a people pleaser. People please people.
Yeah, and just know that you're worth fighting for, whether other people show you that or not.
Yeah, that's true. That's good. So, what do you, at the end of the day, what do you think matters the most? When you're wrapping up and winding down for the day and getting ready to go to bed, what do you think is the most important thing that matters?
Well, the most important thing is my connection with God. Am I in right standing with Him? Did I do the best I could? And if not, have I spent time repenting for that? And then, really, at the end of the day, because I'm a wife and a mom, it's my connection with you and with the kids that matters the most. And have I done everything I need to do to take care of everyone? And then going back to, um, at the end of the day, what matters the most is relationship. That's all it is. That we are here for. We're created for relationship. We have a God-sized hole in our heart that only God can fill. And beyond that, there is nothing more important than loving each other as we would love ourselves and walking in that connection together.
Yeah, that's good. At the end of the day, I want to say that's probably the most important thing to me also is I look back at the things and I always think what you like most people think about this stuff and can't fall asleep. I think about this stuff and then fall asleep at the same time 3 seconds later. But I think about how could I have been a better dad? Was I a jerk at some points in the day, which is pretty consistently at least 3 or 4 times a day. I can be jerkish, but um, I try not to be. I've gotten a lot less abrasive, but especially sometimes if I am not good with my sugar because I have diabetes, then I get grumpy when my sugar is too high. And it's like I can't control being grumpy, and then I have to really work hard. So there's like all these things. But at the end of the day, I want to make sure that my walk is right with God and that my walk is right with my family because I don't want to look back. If something were to happen, if we lost a kid or one of us passed away or something life altering happened, I don't want to look back and think I wish I did that differently. I would rather just take care of it now and deal with it and not have regrets in the future.
Well, that really leads into another question is what does a wise life look like to you now?
To me,
Yeah.
it would be fearing God and pursuing God, and that's your first and foremost, but also knowing when to have boundaries in place and when to implement those boundaries and when to fudge on the boundaries a little bit, because you can't always be like, this is the way, ironclad set in stone, and there's no room for grace or mistakes or anything else. So ultimately, to me, the wisest thing in life would be pursuing God with all of your heart, your mind, and your soul, and loving your neighbor as yourself. Those, like Jesus says, that's the two things that all of the commands, the laws, what the prophet said, all of it is contingent on those two things. And if you don't do that, you're just not wise. And when you're not doing that, if you're not wise, you're being foolish. And there's a lot of passages about what a fool looks like. Brandi was reading them for the scripture soaking stuff, and I was like, well, that's me. Well, turns out I'm more of a fool than I think. And I think if we all stopped and read all the passages in the Bible about what a fool looks like, you might see that there are several things that we do that God says are foolish. So let's be biblical and not be fools. I feel like that would lead to a wise life.
Yeah, I love that you said, if we're not fearing God, walking humbly with God and loving our neighbor as ourself or each other as we would love ourselves. There's 10 different angles I could take on that. One, how do we love ourselves? Because I hated myself without saying that out loud. And that's definitely a temptation. People are like, what temptation do you have? I'm like, I have a temptation to hate myself. That's like it. I can control it now. I am in control of it now. But that's even more tempting to me throughout my lifetime than carbs or alcohol or anything like that was negative thoughts about myself.
That's funny because I have a temptation to hate people, and I don't. I love people. So,
He loves people, but
but
he's from New York, so he's a little bit brash.
my old nature can be very angry and evil towards people, but my new man is I love people a lot, but I didn't always used to.
Yeah.
Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just thought that was
It's relevant.
I thought that was interesting. That's your weakness, and that's mine's the exact opposite weakness.
Right. So
I
Satan
love
would
you too
try to
much.
make you do what my biggest
Make you hate yourself more
Yeah.
by me being hateful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I get grumpy and we have problems. But anyway, real life marriage, right? So if you like what you're hearing, I would really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe. We are just here to bring you good Christian wisdom, and I'm so looking forward to getting 1 to 2 videos out a week on this. I'm going to bring in some of the most amazing people I've learned from, and you're going to continue to hear from Robin and I. But if you're struggling with connecting, and that's a big part of your satiety or your being fulfilled in life. If you're struggling with that, we have written a book called The Pathway to Peace. It's the transcendent pathway to peace. And this book I use as a counselor. And I've been able to walk so many people through being anxious and living in turmoil or chaos or whatever you're in besides peace back into a place of peace. And this was truly a God-given book. I remember just writing it going, wow, I didn't even have those thoughts. This is truly God inspired. And I just had a testimony recently of someone that was so thankful, actually, just a day or two ago, someone that was so thankful that I had written that book. And that's one of so many. I can't even count how many have been thankful for that book, and it's just continuing to bless people. You can get that at my Etsy. It's Peace Filled Designs on Etsy, or you can look on our website, firesidegrace.com/shop for that book, Peace Filled, The Pathway to Transcendent Peace. We love you guys. Thank you for being here. And we hope that you'll become part of our Fireside Grace family. We actually do teachings every Tuesday night on Zoom as part of our ministry. And that's where we can connect with you a little more personally. We would love to have you a part of that. But until then, thank you for being here with me today. My heart is always to help you live to the fullest by bringing you wisdom that actually works, the wisdom of the ages. If this encouraged you, share it with someone who needs it. And let me know in the comments what you're walking through. I'd love to pray for you and go after wisdom with you. I'll see you next week on In Search of Wisdom.